Well, hello again. You are watching Brian Northmore Photography. It's my mission to inspire the photographic community by passing on my passion and skills. I'm a photographic judge, lecturer and workshop leader based in southwest England. You can subscribe anytime. Hit the button or watermark, tick the bell icon and comment. Most of all, in this week's video, I chase the light, the composition and shutter speeds whilst the film crew waits to move into my position. Pick up some compositional and shutter speed tips for photographing moving water and reevaluate your patience. Do you wait for the light? Slowing down and watching what's happening to the light has improved my photography. Can it help you? Keep watching. Love to have your comments at the end.
Well, good morning. Yeah, that's right. You can hear it as well. It's absolutely pouring down with rain again. After we dried out yesterday and had a bit of tea and a sit down, our spirits were lifted quite a bit, and we were planning on getting up this morning and going out. Not early, but certainly before breakfast. But I don't think that's going to happen now. It's just too wet, really, and it's probably not going to be worth it. We're only going to get a bit dejected and wet again, and then have to dry out again, which isn't easy in a small tent with a hairy dog. Takes a little bit of effort in doing. So we're going to have a slightly lazier start to the day and just see what happens, really. So I'm going to go and have a bit of breakfast, try and wake Ruby up. Yeah, Ruby is here. Doesn't seem to be doing a lot, but she's here. And then we'll just go and see what we can actually do. Hopefully, although it looks quite bright, it is obviously raining quite bad, so we'll have to see how it goes. And in the Lake District, the weather can change. You know, it can stop raining, blue sky come out as quick as it actually started. So we'll have to see. So hopefully, I'll see you guys later today. Well guys, this actually feels like it's the first part of the first bit of vlogging I can actually do properly since I've been up here, to be honest. We've got some ideal weather conditions now for what I want. There's a few breaks in the clouds which might let the sun come through, which might make the scene a little bit too bright. But if you remember earlier, I said my plan was to come out and shoot this Rowan Tree by these small waterfalls or cascades, whatever you want to call them. So luckily, as you probably saw on the drive in, we've parked just over the other side of a bridge, and if it came out on the video, you might have seen the tree, which would have been on your right hand side. So yeah, it might be quite good. Either way, we haven't got far to go. We're going to just walk over the bridge through a gate, and the scene will reveal itself in front of us. So we're going to walk over there now. I've got Ruby in tow as usual, so with a bit of luck, she's going to enjoy it. Got to be a little bit careful here because it is on a busy main road, and like I said, I'm not quite sure how much of this you're actually hearing. Hopefully, if my mic's picking everything up, then you can hear me talking. So here we go. So I'm just going to pause you a minute and then spin you around so you can just see what it is I'm actually looking at. Okay, so that's where the car's parked. Look, we've come over the bridge, and this is what I've been looking at every day when I've come over here. This fantastic Rowan Tree up there with these waterfalls in between and the fells in the background. So I'm sure I can get some sort of image out of this, which is going to look really good. It's not exactly as I expected it to be, but we're going to go in there now and have a look anyway. I've just got to convince Ruby to negotiate through this gate because she actually hates them. She has some kind of personal dislike towards kissing gates. Don't exactly know what it is, but as soon as I've negotiated it and got her in, we'll set the camera up and we'll do a bit of logging and look at some different things that we want to talk about. Well, I've been doing my usual sort of just walking around really and taking pictures and observing the scene and seeing what we've got around us. And the reason I always do that is just because until you haven't explored with a camera, you don't really know what you're going to get. Now, one of the things that I actually also do when I'm looking at it is I asked a lot of questions. How fast should I set the camera for the shutter speed? You know, what sort of speed should I work at for when I'm shooting water? And the simple answer to that is I haven't really got a clue, because it tends to change and alter quite a bit depending on what speed the water's moving at and what effect you like and what you actually personally want to achieve from it. But what I've done here, what I tend to do when I set up the camera, you might be able to see this on the back of the camera, I don't know, but basically one of the things I do is I'll take a few test shots. This isn't my final composition, it's nothing like it, but what I'll do is I'll take a few pictures all in aperture priority, so I'll just change the aperture and let the shutter speed take care of itself, and then pick the shutter speed that I like, the one that I think works for me, and that's the one that I'll generally go for and use. So I've kind of, what I tend to do that is I'll zoom in on the frame a little bit, you know, go down towards somewhere I can see some water, and just go through those pictures and just see which one I think's best, and then take the details from it. So yeah, okay, so for me it's probably going to be one of those two, one of the last ones. So if we have a look at the info on that tells me that it was shot at eighth of a second at f16. Now I'm probably not going to be shooting at f16, I'm going to want to shoot at around f11, f8, maybe something like that. I might try some 16. So what I'll be doing is I'll be trying the polarizing filter in a minute. If we need to, we'll put on a neutral density filter as well. So I'm going to set the camera up where I'm going to find my final composition now, and then we'll set the camera up, and we'll get back to you when I've actually done that. I'm probably going to play about a little bit with both horizontal and vertical compositions, but we'll talk about that a bit in a minute as well. Okay, so I hope you can hear me above all this river noise and everything that's going on, because it's really noisy where I'm stood. Took me quite a long time to actually find the composition that I wanted, because regardless of how hard I tried, there was little bits and pieces of the composition that I didn't like. There was a dead sort of like branch of a tree on the left hand side that kept coming into the shot, and it sort of didn't look right. And if I went too far the other way, other things didn't work out exactly the way that I wanted them. The bit of sky above the fell at the top, I just couldn't get things exactly how I wanted. So, like with a lot of photography, composition is quite often about compromise. If I tried going for a traditional landscape format, like a 16:9 or 3:2 ratio, then the problem that I had then was that it was just including too much of the surrounding area around it. I thought it was weakening the overall subject, because the subject that I want you to focus on eventually is that Rowan Tree in the background with those beautiful red berries on it. And I want the water in the foreground to be a nice lead up to it and some interest in the picture. So that's what I'm trying to get. It's kind of worked okay. In fact, I'm going to have to stop, because just as it's lighting up, I want to get some pictures of the light on that tree. So complete change of plan again. There you go. And as quick as that, the light changes and it's gone and we've lost it. Never mind. If it happens again, I'll wait around when I'm not filming and do it again later on. Anyway, I am happy with what I've got. So I've, like I said, I've composed a vertical format, or a portrait format as it's also called, and I've tried a couple of different aperture settings. I've focused on this sort of like rock into the scene here, and I've done an f11, f16 just to make sure I've got the depth of field right, and also that enables me to have a range of different shutter speeds. So I've used the automatic exposure bracketing. I'm bracketing about 2/3 apart from each image, and I've done 5 exposures, and I've started at +1 stop. The reason I'm doing that is because basically then I've got 1 above, 1 on exposure, and 3 underexposed. And the reason I've done that is because that bit of sky at the top above the fell is really quite bright. So I'm probably going to be putting that sky into the finished picture from one of the other frames where it's a bit darker and it's not blown out. The reason for that is I did try putting on a 0.75 and 0.6 ND graduated filter, but unfortunately it cuts across the tree that's also coming into the frame, makes that very dark as well, and it just doesn't look right, it just looks wrong. And this is one of these situations where you've got lots of things cutting across the frame and you can't really pick the sky that you want. So I'll have to darken the sky down and put that in when I'm actually doing that in Photoshop. It's not something I'm particularly good at, so we'll just have to see how it goes and how it works out. If it's successful, it's worthwhile, then I'll include it in the editing. So I'm going to reset for a different composition now, and yeah, we'll see how we get on with that one as well. Thought I'd bring you down here with me, and we'll talk about the shots and the pictures that I'm taking. So the image that I've got here now, I've taken a lower viewpoint. See, the sun's come out quite bright, but I've been still taking the pictures when the exposure level's been much lower than that. Only a few more minutes, I'll be gone then.
Oh, okay, alright. We might use it for a photo shoot here in a minute as well.
Ah, right, okay.
Wait for you and then.
Alright, no problem. I've just got a bit more to do to camera and then I'm gone. Maybe 10-15 minutes.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I've actually fitted the 6-stop ND filter to it because the light keeps changing quite a bit at the moment. I was hoping to get some more of that bright light come out, but I might have left it a little bit too late. So I'm just really waiting for that light to come over and break out again. And then if we get a bit more light on the scene, then I can actually put that together and it'll work really quite well. So we're starting to get a little bit of that light come through now. Lifting just a little bit more. Yeah. Let's wait for that cloud to move out of the way. As soon as that cloud's moved, that light will lift right up, and then we can actually get it with that sort of tree lit up in the background and everything. Not going to do it, is it? Photography literally is all about the waiting game. Luckily Ruby's entertaining another film crew that want to move into my spot whilst I take these last few pictures. I'm just waiting for some clouds to move out of the way. When that light changes, I'm ready and set up for it. It's just a matter of taking the time. Ruby seems to have celebrity status now. She's having a picture taken. She's getting more photo time in than I am. Okay, here we go.
wasn't until editing that I realised how good that last bit of light was. Caught up in the moment and feeling awkward trying to talk to camera with the film crew behind me, I just wanted it over. I thought the portrait format image was the best until I saw the landscape crop. It just proves how powerful light can be and why it's worth hanging around just to see what might happen. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Help me out and subscribe. Don't forget the bell icon, give a thumbs up or down, and please comment below. Most of all, enjoy your photography, stay safe, see you next time.